We've traveled so far together through the lessons. You've learned about your nervous system, you've practiced new ways of relating to pain and fear, and you've discovered new tools that literally rewire your brain for safety and healing. Now, as we wrap up this journey, we wrap up these lessons, I want to talk to you about something crucial: how to trust the process of healing, especially when it doesn't follow the timeline you might prefer. And this is so true for me. I still remember how I thought I can heal. I had prescribed timeline. Even though I've done it once before, I thought I can still, in a way, control it. And if you most of the women I work with, part of you is probably hoping for a clear timeline. If I do these practices for, whatever number of weeks I wanted to, my pain will be gone by. And I want to say I totally understand this because I've been there as well. When we are suffering, we wanted to know when that suffering will end. You want the guarantees, timelines, and measurable progress. So you know when you're going to be on the other way. And what I've learned through my own healing, going through this process 3 times and working with other women, is that healing is not a straight line from pain to no pain. It's more like a spiral staircase. Sometimes you feel like you're going in a circle, but you're actually moving forward. And I want to talk about this as as a power of 1% increments. So instead of waiting for this dramatic, because that's what our mind would like us to feel and see, this dramatic transformation, what if we can celebrate the tiny shifts? So how could that look like for you? How could that 1% better look like? It could look like catching one fear thought before it spirals, using somatic tracking for 30 seconds during a pain flare, speaking to yourself kindly once, when normally you wouldn't, sleeping 15 minutes longer than usual when you feel like you need it, when you feel like that's what's best for you right now, instead of dismissing it and going through your routine. Feeling curious about the sensations instead of immediately being fearful of them, having one conversation you'd have avoided before, and noticing small moments of joy that you would probably have missed previously. So these improvements that I mentioned, they may seem very insignificant, but they're actually the building steps. So each small shift is an evidence that your nervous system is learning new patterns, that your brain is creating new pathways, that healing is happening. So I want to share with you, I haven't done it in the last couple of videos, one of my clients' story. This is Lisa's story. She came in to me after 2 years of chronic neck pain. She was exhausted, frustrated. She convinced she was broken. She wanted to know exactly how long would it take to, to get better. She's just like many of my clients. She wanted that prescribed list of what are the things I have to do in order to get better. How long will it take? 6 weeks, 3 months? She just want a number. And I had to explain to her that healing doesn't work with deadlines. Instead of we focus on these tiny improvements week by week. And over time, in one of those weeks, Lisa realized that she had driven to work without thinking about her neck for the first time in months. A few weeks later, during a pain flare, she used somatic tracking and spoke kindly to herself instead of panicking. And then, few weeks after, she had her first completely pain-free days. And then, few months after, I think it was about month 6 or 7, she looked back and she realized that she still had occasional pain, but that pain no longer controlled her life. She couldn't say exactly when it happened, how many weeks or months, because the progress was so gradual. But and it was unexpected to her. She was waiting for that big moment, this aha moment. I wake up, no pain, and it's very clear. One day I had, one day I didn't. But what she told me was healing happened in 1,000 of different moments that I almost missed. And this is so true for so many of us too. So this pain you're experiencing right now, as much as it's probably hard to hear, is just temporary. There is a way out. And I know it may not feel temporary right now in this moment when you in that, midst of the chronic pain, it can feel like eternal. Like this is who you are right now. But your pain is not permanent feature of your identity. It's temporary state that we can change. We can change through working with our nervous system to create new patterns, and we can unlearn the patterns that our nervous system, that our brain defaults to. Every woman I've worked with who has healed from a place of feeling of hopelessness can, changed over time. So every single one of them thought that, my case is more complex, it's more difficult, I am more stuck than anybody else. I hear this other person's symptoms are so bad, but mine was worse. And every single one of them discovered that their bodies still held the capacity to comfort, ease, and heal. And they were able to get on the other side of it. So, in this lesson, I just want you to acknowledge how much we've come together, how much you've learned, how much you've practiced, and how much healing capacity you have within your body. Your body has this innate capacity to heal. We are often just in our own way. You are learning a new language, the language of nervous system and the language of self-compassion. And that just takes time. It didn't take us a day or two to be in so much pain, to be in so much, to be getting so many panic attacks or to experience chronic fatigue. Probably wasn't overnight um, when your symptoms develop. So it's going to take us a little bit of time to get on the other way of it because we got to unlearn those new patterns. And sometimes what that means is we're gonna feel like we moving a step sidewalk in sideways, 5 steps backwards, and then 10 steps back. One of the things that I want to talk to you, and I know we've covered in another session, is there will be days when you forget what you've learned through the lessons. You can go back, watch recordings, but I just want to talk about it for a couple of minutes. Those days when the pain feels like overwhelming and you wonder if anything works, if this is really working. And days were, most likely reverting to your old patterns of fear and self-criticism. Those days don't mean you're failing or that healing isn't happening. They just mean you're human, dealing with something super challenging and learning a completely new way of being with yourself. And when those days happen, I want you to remember that you don't have to be perfect at it, that having those setbacks, it's totally normal. All of us have experienced that too. That one day doesn't erase your progress, that your worth is not determined by your pain levels, and you can start fresh in the next moment. So, key things that I would like really, I hope I emphasize through the video is that healing is not linear. That 1% improvements are profound. Those tiny shifts are stepping stone into major transformation. That pain is temporary. Your nervous system can learn new patterns. The pain is temporary. You've already have everything you need, the tools, the wisdom, and the strength. And patience, this was something that I had to learn. It was super difficult for me. It's an active practice. And what's required with that patience for the healing is just consistent action. And I hope you're watching these lessons because something inside of you is letting you know, or you feeling that that change is possible for you too. You too can heal. And I want you to know that is super correct. However the small hope you might feel, that is your innate wisdom speaking the truth. You're not broken, you're not stuck in pain forever. You're just, super complex, resilient human being whose nervous system have learned certain patterns for very good reasons. Those patterns were, you know, helping you at some point in time, probably when you were younger, but right now you can learn new patterns and, when it feels safe to do it. Your healing may not allow the timeline you prefer, and it may not look exactly like you imagined, but it is happening in ways that probably are both seen and unseen. And your brave and beautiful brain is already changing. Every moment you choose that curiosity over judgment, every time you speak kindly to yourself, every second you stay present with discomfort without panic, you are healing. Not just, the pain, but those old patterns of fear, self-criticism, and survival that may have been with you for years. And this is really the work. And you are so brave for doing it. This is the work of become fully joyful, authentically yourself. So I want you to, trust the journey, trust your body, trust yourself. Let me know if you have any comments. Reach out if you need help. I'm here to help you, to support you through this process. I know it's not easy, um, but if anything, if I can encourage you to stay in that curiosity, what is possible for you healing, versus just like me, so many years ago, trying to force a certain way of healing, that's really the way to go. So let me know if you need any help. Let me know in the comments if you're struggling with anything, if you need any help. And see you in the next lesson.